Hello, everyone. Welcome to 10 Minutes with Barb and Ron. Barb Gentili Green. I'm super excited, Ron. We have a guest today. Tell us about our famous guest here.
Oh, Barb, I am so pleased to announce that we have Carrie Sanchez with us today. She is so famous throughout Ohio in the leadership realm. She just did an amazing, like 2.5 session with OCALI. And you know, those sessions are tough when you go that long. If you've never done one, that's a long session. But you know what? I was on the edge of my seat the whole time Carrie was talking, because when Carrie talks, it's all from the field. It was all exactly what was happening out there. So with that said, Carrie, how about if you introduce and kind of give a little background, and then we'll move into the question for the day.
Good afternoon. So my name is Carrie Sanchez, and I am the Director of Leadership and Learning for the North Point Education Service Center. And I'm excited to be here today. I've just completed my first year as the Director of Leadership, and that is immediately following 13 years as a principal. And I had 13 years in the classroom prior to that. So I'm excited that my current role allows me to kind of be that extra support that isn't necessarily always there for administrators and teachers and school leaders.
Well, you know, I heard a pattern there, Ron. So 13 years as a teacher, 13 years as a principal. She's in for 13 years as the director there at the North Point Educational Service Center. So
I sure hope so.
That's great.
I hope so too. And, you know, Carrie's really, you know, she had to take all that information. She just put it into a little small package for us. But honest to goodness, she's an incredible person. So with that said, here's the big question that we want, I guess we want Carrie to focus on, and you can take it in any direction that you would like. And that is, when you're thinking about connecting with people, how do you do that as far as like for administrators, teachers, parents, community members, and things like that? Because leadership is so important, you know, for you to deliver the messages.
And the only way that I have learned to be effective in leadership, and not always effective, I would like to say batting 1,000, but we all know that is not always a win, is to truly and genuinely connect with people. And the only way that you can truly connect with people is to engage with them and to listen more than you respond. So there's always, you know, listen to understand, not just to respond. And that really sat on my heart early in my leadership journey. And I really take that to heart, because we go into every relationship with an assumption. We think that we know what it is that people know or do or what their experiences are. And just take your own family structure, for example. How you grew up as a child is probably profoundly different than whomever is sitting across the table from you. And you need to deeply understand that before you can connect with those people. And I think leaders need to be sponges. We need to absorb as much as we can, to learn as much as possible in order to be effective. So really connecting with others starts with you as the leader having an open heart to welcome as much information and understanding as you can.
Wow, Barb, there's a lot there to digest. I think you've already got something ready too, don't you, to respond?
Well, as soon as Carrie, as you mentioned, be a sponge, I thought about how many things face us in a day as a leader in a building or a district, and how many things are in our mind that we have to get done. And sometimes I'll just say it from my own perspective, I forget that be a sponge piece, because I'm so like focused on, we got to talk about this, we got to solve this. So I love that visual too.
I had a mentor early on in my administrative career. Her name was Asia Armstrong, and unfortunately she passed away several years ago. But she taught me early on, people by day, paper at night. And I loved that. Like, that was because you do, as school leaders, we want to be very efficient, and we want to do our homework. We want to make sure that all of our jobs are done and all of the things are done correctly. And so that really helped me align my thinking as far as the most important thing during the day is people. And moving forward, you know, you can take care of the paper at another time, digital paper, all those sort of things.
So Barb, when not to be the devil's advocate here, but as soon as Carrie said that, I thought about the way you and I do things, Barb, and the way when we've always gotten ourselves in trouble is when we're doing too much at home, after hours, because Barb and I tend to, I will say burn ourselves out, but we tend to take stuff home and we tend to risk family at that. So when you say paperwork in the evening, how do you divide family time and that work time, Carrie?
Well, and I think I've done a lot of women's leadership talks and traveling around and meeting with women's groups. And one of my favorites now is to remind all leaders that there is really no such thing as balance. Like balance is something that will just drive you crazy, because all you'll do is find yourself trying to slice yourself into extra pieces of the pie, where if you stop looking for balance and you just accept that a lot of times it's going to be a teeter-totter instead. Some days will be heavy, some days will be light. And so if you accept that and embrace that, you don't frustrate yourself as much trying to find that balance.
Another good visual.
Yeah, that's, if I were to say I was one or the other, I think I'm more the teeter-totter. Mm-hmm. Sure. I've always found myself having to focus in on really get this, and then hopefully that quiets down a little. I can really go after this other. Barb's probably feeling that, because in the last 2 days, we're going to be doing, I think, 4 of these. So, we hadn't done any for months because of trying to get together. So it's that teeter-totter. I love that. Barb, what do you think?
Yeah. I like it too, because what I think we do to ourselves, and you alluded to this, Carrie, is like we put that pressure on ourselves to create that balance, and that's really not realistic, because there are certain times of June is a busy month. In my position, there's lots of federal funding reporting to be done and writing the next year's grants and things like that. And so, but yet now in July, it's a little bit slower. So I don't feel so bad if I, cut out a half hour early. And so that takes that pressure away, I think, to change that from balance to teeter-totter. I like that.
And I think also it allows you to be present where you need to be present. When we're trying to balance, then we're never effectively anywhere, because we're so scattered amongst all of the spaces. So I just find peace in accepting, okay, with the ebb and flow, this is going to be heavy right now. And when I get that taken care of, then that allows me to clearly focus on that.
Nice. So how do you take that message? Talk to us a little bit about maybe some of the reactions that other leaders have had as I'm sure this is one of the things you help them with, that connection piece and that teeter-totter. How do people take it, and how do, just talk to us about that.
So I feel like the connection piece is just like the freedom that you felt with the teeter-totter piece. When you have a connection and you clearly understand something better, then all of that gray kind of melts away. During COVID, we're trying so hard to figure out, why aren't kids engaging in school? We love school. Why wouldn't they want to do that? And so we diagnosed that we didn't understand what was happening outside of the walls of our building. And we wanted to be able to connect with those families more. And so we had to have a reason. And we couldn't just show up on doorsteps and scare people. So I went and bought a couple cases of microwave popcorn, and we printed postcards that we attached to the microwave popcorn that said, just wanted to pop in and check on you. Oh. And so then I would take a teacher with me to a home, and, we would just stop in and we would just say hello. And I asked every teacher to have 2 pop-ins, and I would go with them, to all of them and all that sort of thing. Those teachers still to this day talk about that being one of the most impactful experiences that they had, because they only know their homes. They only know their life experiences. And to just stand on the threshold of a doorstep and see the excitement on a student's face, to see the amazement in the parents' eyes, and to gain that understanding of, holy moly, there were 6 dogs or 4 kids, or, it was 95 degrees in that house, or, all of those different things. Just the more you can absorb that understanding, the better.
You give me chills. Didn't you get chills on that, Barb?
I did.
Oh, I still
That's
got him.
great.
It's like I'm cold all of a sudden because of so many chills, and I was burning up before. That's just
great.
amazing. Didn't I tell you? Carrie's just an amazing person,
Yeah.
and teachers do love it. They love to go see their kids in their homes. They just never have the opportunity.
And it also forced me as a leader to do that as well, and to gather as many experiences, to see my teachers in action in a different light.
Yeah.
It was a great experience. But again, it gave me great insight. And I'll still see folks in the bread aisle now at the grocery store, and they'll remind me of when we stopped in and saw them, and that sort of thing matters. And we really are in a people business. We have all kinds of mandates and we have all kinds of regulations, but our ultimate job is to care for people.
Guess what? It's been 10 minutes already. Isn't that amazing?
Well, and what a perfect thought to end on, really.
Yeah.
That's to remind us that that is our business.
So before I say Ron's out, we are definitely going to have Carrie come back. We've already got something we want Carrie to talk about, and I'm not going to mention it right now because it's too big. So Carrie, be ready for an email because we don't want to wait too long before we get you back. Hopefully we can get you back in August. So Ron's out.
And Barb is out. Thank you, Carrie.
Thanks,
Thank
Carrie.
you. Have a great day.
Bye. YouTube, please subscribe, like, comment, and share.